Hello, hi chat. Hi. Hello. Hello, dear streamer. Hello. Hello. I don't think it's the notif has gone out. There it goes. Hi friends. Hello. Wait here, I'll turn on my camera. So as you guys know, wait, the music's probably a little loud, sorry. As you guys know, I was streaming on Tuesday and my stream just freaking crashed. Like, what's up with that? Anyways, yeah, thank you so much. 17 possums and a trench coat for the 5 months. Hello, I'm new here. Hello, new here. I'm Snifferish. You guys thought I was gonna say dad, but I didn't. Yeah, no, so my stream crashed. I was like, oh shit, what the frick? So I actually stopped building and I told myself that I would finish my build on stream. So that's what we're going to do today. If you guys didn't get to see it last time because you weren't here, boo-hoo, sad. I am currently working on some builds for a super secret project. Is it gonna pick up my Minecraft? This is always the old age question. And we were working on these lovely little apartment buildings that I quite like. I mean, technically it's like one building. I just split it in half. Hello, you're my recommended. Welcome, Nada Ash. So, coming to here, we're kind of doing this like interesting theme of like one's very dark and spooky, and the other one's very planty and lifeful, I guess. Lifeful? I don't know. So yeah, I was literally just starting to build the inside of this one, I think, when my partner sent me a TikTok and then it crashed my computer and I had to end stream. That was so quirky of me. It reminds me of Gru's house. You know what? I'll take that as a compliment. Yeah. So anyways, today we're going to be focusing on finishing off this build. It looks like there's not much to do, but then you come back here and you realize that there's a whole garden and stuff that I need to build. And then I might make some variations of it just because I need different variations just to kind of, you know, see how much I like about it and all that jazz. It's a compliment, thank you. Okay, I'm just gonna finish this line right here. It's so silly. I normally, when I'm building and I have like a certain parameter that I need to keep it in, I always create these lines. And normally I'm pretty good at like double checking, but I didn't this time, so rip. Who wouldn't live here? I would live here. Actually, the whole point of this one specifically is like, I want to make this one look like a place that Snifferish specifically would live in. Okay, so by the way, I made this tweet, chat. Okay, wait. No. This is important. I made this tweet, chat. You know this whole trend that's going around that's like, okay, she's a 10, but, or like, she's a 10, but I made this tweet and I said, they're a 10, but they use acacia wood and diorite and builds. And everyone got so mad at me, like so mad at me. Okay, first off, I would like to say, in my defense, I grew up with classic Minecraft. So this looks a lot better. This is calcite, that's not, oh wait, no, I'm right. Diorite looks like shit, look at this. This looks like TV static. This looks like LaCroix. Like, where's the flavor? It's gone. Okay, on the other hand, I can understand polished diorite, however the frick you pronounce it, you know? But this stuff, I'm sorry, it's unforgivable. Yeah, anyways, I'm with you, Stiff, thank you. I'm so glad that my chat is with me. Snifferish chat solidarity, am I right? Anyways, that's just my thoughts and opinions. It looks like rice? No, even rice looks better than that. It literally looks like TV static. And it's like too cool to match all the other whites in the game. I don't know. I don't like it. I use acacia. Okay, they made acacia a little bit better in the update. I have to admit that, like when they did the textures update. But before, it was just awful. Like, yeah. I use them a lot because they get left out. Okay, well that's a little sweet, I guess. You're a little nice for that one. Anyways, chat, we're gonna build a kitchen first. I remember very specifically back in my Minecraft Marketplace days, I used to have to build all the kitchens in like every single room, and it just got so repetitive that I'm actually just so quick with it now. So, as I was talking to chat last time, I use pistons for counters because it kind of looks like butcher block. And then we're gonna get some barrels, we're gonna get some beehives. Let me get my classic cauldron for the sink. This is a Snifferish speed tutorial on how to make a kitchen. Make sure you get your spruce trap doors. You know, watch your lever. And then, you know what, choose like a nice little tile for the backsplash, you know? So yeah, put in your backsplash. Put in your sink. Add like 1 beehive here, just so that this lever doesn't put off the pistons. And then you put the pistons here. And then you can just kind of like, you know, take some redstone, make a nice little island. See? I'll add a nice little area over here, and then right here, I'm gonna add my little stove. We're gonna get a smoker. Put a nice, you know, stone pressure plate on it to be a little hot plate. And then we will add our... Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this. And then... I always like to make my stoves have the... What's it called? You know, the thing, the range? There we go. Is it the range? I don't know. This thing. Yeah. And then there you go. Simple, easy, little tiny kitchen. You can add like your little details and all that jazz. Yeah. Vent fan? Yes, sure. I don't really know what to call it there. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. But I'm gonna add my details in here as well. So where... add some like bamboo. I don't know why. I just feel like the bamboo in pots is really cute. Also, like I said, I want this one to have like a lot of plants. I want it to be very like, I don't know, I guess very, very lively. A very lively room. Let's see, bamboo. And I'm also gonna get some moss blocks and some azalea leaves. There we go. I want to build in Minecraft. What should I build in Minecraft? You should, I don't know, try building something you haven't built in a while. I really was surprised when I started this build because I don't typically like build, I guess, some more like city, modern, urban type builds like this. I'm definitely more of like a medieval builder, so when I started working on this, I was like, oh god, this is gonna go so poor. But it actually turned out really nice, so try something that maybe you wouldn't expect to pop off in, and then see how much you pop off. Okay, I'm gonna add some hanging leaves. Just because, you know me guys, this is kind of my whole thing. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the window treatment that I did in the, wait. I want to add more candles. I'm gonna do the window treatment, or the ceiling treatment that I did in the other house. I'm pretty much trying to mimic what I did over here, but like I said, just in a different aesthetic. So I'm gonna grab these smooth quartz. I just like it. It cleans up the ceiling a bit. I also, oh, I did this wrong. It's supposed to be cobblestone. How dare you, Sniff? You should have used a greenhouse on the roof. I could totally do that. I feel like that'd be really cute. Okay, one sec, chat. Let me just fix this so it matches. And then I'm just gonna leave the leaves where they are. Just kind of let them blend in with the blocks. Like, cause I don't really like placing them above the stairs. Okay, and then the frog lights. The frog lights are so cute. I'm gonna use the green one actually. Just kind of adds to that vibe. Although, oh, that's right. I did want to add a little hanging thing right here. So I'm gonna do that real quick. And then we're gonna need chain and lanterns. I'm actually gonna do an asymmetrical look. Whenever I'm doing stuff that involves like plants and stuff, right, like that, I don't know, I like to have like a lot of asymmetry just because it kind of keeps with that like unnatural and more like organic theme. Random question, but what do you think your preferred pronouns in Swedish other than the translation of she, her, which is a direct translation of they, them, or hans, hans, which is gender neutral pronoun? Huh. I don't know. I probably would just use the gender neutral pronouns. That's cool. I think it's really interesting that a lot of other languages have gender neutral pronouns and we just like completely ignore them. Okay, where are the pots again? Here we go. I'm gonna make a little hanging plant in here too, just because I've decided that this is how we do it. Okay, it looks so cute. Thank you. Oh yeah, I also need fences. Okay, so I'm gonna do this down too. This is going to do like, oh, that's a little too low. Oopsies. Maybe it won't be asymmetrical. Maybe I'll just do like, wait, no, I can make this work. I can make the asymmetry work. Okay, I love your jumper slash cardigan. Thank you. I like it a lot too. It's very oversized and comfy, which is really nice. Whenever it's too hot, chat, I tend to just wear oversized clothing instead of like less clothing because my skin is so sensitive. Okay, I'm gonna use moss as the carpet because, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Just because I think it would be a little silly thing to do. Okay, and now I need to make, I think I'm gonna make like a little booth thing. I don't know if that makes any sense. What I'm thinking in my brain is like a little waxed. Okay, we want waxed. It's like a little eating booth right here. Like this is, instead of like a little dining room, it just makes sense in my brain. Don't worry about it, chat. Okay, and then I don't know why I'm using copper. I think it just stands out and I think that's nice. I'm gonna take one barrel and one spruce door. Kind of do I think I will not do that. I think, wait, here. Why don't I try putting the barrel here and then putting this like this, and that kind of makes it look like it has something going on there. Yeah, this is so cute. What color would you dye your hair next? I really want to, oh gosh, chat. I know blonde is so basic, but I kind of miss having blonde hair already. It's so sad. I don't know, maybe I just really like being a dumb blonde. It's just funny. Also, man, I don't know, there's just so many different reasons. I'm just a little silly like that, I guess. Just putting random guys in here just makes sense again in my brain. Gonna add some more plants. Okay. I think this is quite pretty. I do think we need something here though, so I'm gonna make like a little storage area. And then I will put plant there. I'll add a mushroom, and then here we're gonna do, yeah, I like that. That makes sense. Okay. I'm gonna add some moss carpeting in here. And it's a very green room, but like I said, the whole point is that it's supposed to be like a huge opposite. So if I got bangs and I didn't like them that much, and now I really love them. I love bangs so much. Oh my gosh, wait, chat. I wonder if I have it in my folder. One sec. I have this photo of me when I was a kid. The thing is when I was younger, I literally had the same haircut. I've had the same haircut since I was like 3, and it's just kind of funny. I'm trying to see if I have the photo. I don't think I do. I'll pull it up at some point, or I'm sure my mom has posted it on like Twitter because she's a nerd like that and does that. But yeah, no, it's like a photo of me laying with my cat, and I literally have the same haircut that I have right now. It's really a moment. You go, wow, that is, you look like you haven't changed other than you just got bigger. Okay. Oh, happy midsummer to everyone in chat. Sincerely, your local sweet. Thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah, no, the whole point is it's supposed to be opposite to this guy. This one is very dark. I like it. I want more paintings though in the other one. Okay. Let me see. I think I could fit like a painting here. Actually, I kind of want like a little one. Where did my painting go? Okay, here we go. No, sniff. Like how I still haven't changed from my MCC skin yet. It's just like that sometimes. Steph, where do you currently get your build inspiration from? Well, this build is a little different than my other builds because I got this one, like, this build is for a project that already exists. So the baseline of like what the inspiration, I guess, is supposed to be, I already have. Like it's just kind of the same thing that everything else is supposed to be inspired off of. However, most of the time I look up like fantasy buildings or something like that, or a lot of the time I get inspiration from like video game art, if that makes sense. The skin's cute though, deserves extra playtime, really does. I don't know, I just keep forgetting. I mean to take it off and put on my normal Snifferish skin, and then I forget. I think I should have finished your builds. Well, this is even funnier because I don't always. There are builds that you guys have like literally never seen because I started them and I got tired and I just never completed them. Like, I think there was this one point in, when was it? Like, April? When I was starting to build the bat cave. And I don't think anyone ever saw that, so yeah. I think when I do, I don't know, I guess you guys are sometimes my motivation, because when I show builds to people, most of the time they're like, yo, Stiff, that's so cool, I can't wait to see it finish, and then I'm like, oh god, now I guess I gotta finish it, oopsies. Which is kind of an unfortunate way of getting motivation, but it works, so I just roll with it. Silly little guy. Vengeance Cave? Yeah, I was literally making the frickin'... It was so silly. I was literally making this stupid little, like, bat cave, but it was, like, not really little because it kind of takes place in an abandoned train station, so it's, like, huge. And I was doing it with chisel and bits, which, if you guys are familiar with chisel and bits, that's a lot to build with. Like, a lot. Actually, I think I'm just gonna do this. I'm doing a fireplace over here because I did one on the other side, and it just makes sense. If it works, I guess. True. True. And it does, so it's okay. I do want to do another really big build soon. I feel like I do it almost every summer at this point. Like last summer, I started the Among Us build, or no, 2 summers ago. Wow, that's a lot emotionally to think about. 2 summers ago, I started like the Among Us build thing. And then last summer, I recreated Bo's room from inside. And I don't know, I want to do something a little silly this summer. Sir, I am trying to build here. F gay people, so true! I do in fact be fucking gay people. Sorry, it's just funny when people say that because I think it's like an insult. It's like, babes, that's the goal. That is the thought process. Okay, wait, and then okay, smooth quartz stairs. Here we go. I'm gonna also add some detail up here. I'm probably gonna rewatch the stream tomorrow and also build something. Dude, you should totally do that. I love it when people build stuff. If you build something while watching me, please feel free to tag me on Twitter. I might not respond, but I'll definitely see it and I will think that it's cool. So, you know. Okay, I also want to get... Where is the... There we go, brick wall. I don't know why, this is just such a nice, fancy, like... Okay, and then I'm gonna add bookshelves on the side. That's not actually bookshelves. Bookshelf. Here we go. And then I'm just gonna do some variation here. I think this looks very nice. I will add my fire pit. These bats are annoying the hell out of me, I'm not gonna lie. I'm also gonna add some candles right here on the mantle. And then I want to add another picture. Painting. There we go. I think that this is very cute. And I will finish it off. Oh, I can't add plants there. Oof. Oof, oof. The only thing I'm asking for is Xmas is Minecraft because I want to make really cool builds like you. That's really cute, actually. Oh my god. Sorry, that's just so sweet. Thank you. I'm glad that I can be inspiration. Sorry, I feel so bad whenever people are like, Sniff, you're such good inspiration. And 5 seconds ago, I was like swearing my ass off. Thank you so much, Soggy Weetabix, for the 10 months. What can I say? I am an amazing influencer. Gosh. Okay. I'm gonna make some little tables here and keep giggling to myself while I do. These are my side tables for in here. They just work. It just works. Okay, and then if people weren't here for my last stream, I can show you how I make my silly little lamps. It's usually with end rods because they create light. And then for this I'm using a red mushroom block because this is a little bit of a very plant-themed mushroom house because I am a silly little guy like that. Okay, and then we're gonna want more paintings because I want this place to be very colorful. So I'm gonna put it right here. Oops. Well, oh, wait, okay, there we go. I got it. And then I'm gonna add some more plants like I did in the other room. Do I have like normal azalea? Yeah. Just gonna mix in the normal ones as well. Azalea leaves have definitely become my favorite leaves in this game. They're just so pretty. Thoughts on Stranger Things Season 4? I have been wanting to watch it, however, so this is, you guys are gonna probably be like, Sniff. Oh, Sniff. So my unfortunate news is that I haven't watched Stranger Things. I know, it's a terrible crime. I'm actually asking Charles right now if they would be willing to watch it with me. Because, like I said, never watched it, but I'm currently trying to finish a painting. So I am thinking that what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use this opportunity of like sitting for a very long period of time to finish something, to finish this like painting and then also watch Stranger Things, because I don't know, I like to watch TV while I paint. I don't know if anyone else does that, but I do that. And there was this one time when I was working on this painting, it was like, I think the painting that took me the longest so far. I say so far because I'm just saying there's a chance that the one I'm currently working on will outdo it. But I watched the entirety of Glee, so that was definitely a moment. What if the people that live next to each other are besties and give each other advice? Well, I kind of have news for you. So the inspiration for this house is supposed to be me and my partner. So my partner, Pooch Bottle, likes skeletons and darker colors, and I like more live things and mushrooms and all that jazz. So I guess it's a silly little, there's like a word, is it motif? I don't think it's motif. It's just like a silly little, yeah. Glee is such a good bad TV show. It's so bad, it's horrible. Yeah, I don't know. It's sorry, anyways, back to the topic of Glee. Glee is shit, but it's so funny. Like, also, I know that's, like, people give Glee a lot of shit, but when I was a kid, it was, like, the first TV show that I watched that, like, had, like, LGBT representation. Was it the best representation? Sometimes not. Sometimes not. Sometimes they, like, there was, like, this one point where they really enforced the stereotype that, like, people who are homophobic are, like, secretly closeted gays, which that can happen, but it's a weird stereotype to enforce. Oh shoot. Oh, Sniff, wait, quick question. But I don't want to go deep digging into what your boundaries are in fanfiction. Like, you can, I don't mind fanfictions about me as long as it's not like NSFW or anything like that. I don't mind at all. I love writing and I really like writers and I think that it's cool. So you are A-okay, buddy. Okay, speaking of, I need to start mimicking this side. So, like I said, I'm pretty much mirroring the other house entirely, just because that's what typically happens in houses like these. Okay, and then the next one is right here. Santana and Brittany, first woman love woman couple I saw on a show. Yep. Actually, and then the next one I saw after that was actually on Grey's Anatomy. Like, so like, I know that people shit on like, yo, thank you so much for the raid, Limari. I really appreciate it. we're just talking about shows. I know that people shit on Grey's Anatomy so like a lot for being like the soap opera that never ends, but for me at least, like I watched it with my mom when I was like probably in middle school, which maybe was too young to watch it, but you know, whatever. Hey, Sniff, hello. And I was just like, what's it, Callie and I can't remember the other one. They were like a lesbian couple, and I thought that that was really cool. I also thought it was really cool because in the show they also talked about like Callie's like Callie in Arizona. Yeah, they also talked about Callie's struggle of like realizing that she was a lesbian, and I don't know, it was like really cool. I liked it a lot. I know people, like I said, people give Grey's Anatomy shit, but I actually really liked it. So sadly they took Glee off Netflix. Yeah, there's a lot of things getting taken off of Netflix right now. I don't know if you guys have watched, there's a lot of videos on Netflix at the moment, just overall talking about their downfall. It's a lot. I feel bad simultaneously, but I totally can like look at the business and understand why it's starting to go downhill. Kelly's bi, oh sorry, maybe it's Arizona that I was thinking of. It's been a really long time since I watched the show, so I apologize. It's on Disney Plus now. Oh, that's probably why. Like I said, all of these platforms right now, like they're fighting for licenses, and a lot of Netflix's license to shows have been expiring lately, so big rip. I'm not okay with this. Broke my heart when they discontinued it. Me too. I actually really liked that show a lot as well. Okay, I do not want a painting that big. Wait, how do I... There we go. I'm trying to create like a little secret path between the two houses because I'm cringe like that. All right, let me start to build the, is it one more level up? Wait. It is, okay. I have to build this up one more, 1 sec, chat. Secret tunnel through the mountains. Secret tunnel. Oh, sorry. That's what, when it says secret door, I just think about that. Okay, I'm gonna do the little roof thing real quick. In the other room, I did like a little guest room, and then I had like a little guest room, and then I made it very empty. But I think in this one, I want to make like a little painting studio because I think that would be really cute and very on brand. Netflix cancels all their shows but kept Riverdale for like severed. And was Riverdale a Netflix funded project? I didn't know that actually. Why is the room divided? It's technically 2 different houses, so it's supposed to be 2 different apartments, and it's like in the same building. I'm really enjoying this build so far though. Yo, thank you so much, Bo. Bo! Oh my god! Hello, my beautiful Bo Raiders. Hello, my loves. We were just Bo Raiders, hi. We are talking about TV shows right now. We were about to start trashing on Riverdale. Sorry. I'm also building this like a little apartment building for a very secret project. But yeah, thank you. My building idol, hi, hello, my loves. Yeah, remember to check out the rules and all that jazz. You guys are probably very respectful. I trust Bo to maintain a nice chat. So thank you, Bo, so much for the raid. I hope you had a good stream. When your streamer raids your other streamer, it's just girls supporting girls, you know. Slash gender non-conforming feminine people. Yeah, there we go. No one misgenders me more than me. It's okay, guys. Don't worry about it. I'm fine. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. Let me grab those frog lights that I brought down here. Yeah, so I'm doing this building. It's got like 2 split apartments, and I'm doing one in this like very dark spooky theme, and then the other one is supposed to be very like, the one that I'm building right now is supposed to be very like, ooh, lovely, like it's like full of plants and flowers and it's really gay. Um, the little stripped barrier around the build is giving me building time with Stampy. Yes. I mean, hey, that's like basically, so the reasoning for the barrier is because this building is going to have other buildings around it. I am just working on this one individual building, so I wanted to make sure that I stayed within the confines or whatever, so I didn't mess up the other people's builds or whatever. I don't know. It's funny, but also for me, it reminds me of my era when I used to just literally do like build streams for hours on super flat. The outside is pretty, thank you. It's I don't know, it's a cute apartment building. I'm trying to go for like a more, I guess, Victorian feel, like an older Victorian townhouse. Individual is very hard to say. Yeah. Yeah, I'm also just not very good at English. Fun fact, chat, if you guys haven't if you guys haven't figured it out. It's like the two lesbian aesthetics, cottagecore and gothic. Well, you know, it's funny you say that, because this is in fact inspired off of my very sapphic relationship with somebody who is gothic and somebody who is cottagecore. Oh my god, I like the style of your side of the apartment. Thank you. I like this more style, but that's because you know, it's obviously catered towards me. I think that like Charlie's side is pretty good though. I needed to make my like room. I kind of want to make like a very like mushroomy. I'm gonna use red. I want to use red. I'm always down to use red. Kind of want to use the mudstone bricks. Let me guess, Steph, you're the gothic one? I'm not. So I wonder, how would you come to... I hope you're joking. Because, like, do you see my microphone is covered in flowers? Like... Okay, I'm gonna use oak, and then where is the mushrooms? I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna make, like, literally just, like, a mini mushroom in my Minecraft room. Okay, where is, like, beds. There we go. Okay, so make this here. We're gonna place down our nice little red bed. I'm gonna make my classical Snifferish bed. Put these down. I want this so you can go between the two rooms. I think it's very cute. And then I'm gonna make a tall mushroom lamp now. When I make a tall lamp, I just stack 2 end rods, so like so. Look at that. Look at how cute she is. Actually, maybe not. Maybe I should just do 1 side lamp. Yeah, hello? Oh, thank you so much, Alistair Elizabeth, for the gifted sub. I really appreciate it. Yo, that's one of my mods right there. Sif, my favorite goth streamer. Hey, I'll have you guys know that I dated a Negro once. I don't know what that has to do with me being goth. I just think that it's funny to say that like that. So do you have specific streaming days or times? Love your streams, by the way. Okay, so I sort of have a schedule. It's that's not very convincing. I'm so sorry. At the moment, I stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Yeah, thank you so much, Venus Moon, for the 11 months. But I am currently trying my darn diddly hardest to stream more because it's the summertime and all that jazz and all the good stuff, and yeah. My hope is to get to a point where I'm streaming at least like majority of the week. You were in love with a new girl? Yeah, it was rough. I don't recommend. Look, I know that they're like, people like make the joke about opposites being attracted, but it's just so true. Like, I am 100% attracted to the Marceline type. Like, I have issues. Like, oh god. Anyways, we style it. We're living. Wait, I wanna get the. There we go. That's the one I want. What's wrong with you girls? Nothing. just been broke too many times. My heart been broke too many times. I was here last stream and it broke after banana phone. I came what happened after banana phone. I didn't get to finish streaming because it broke. Oh wait, I'm gonna put this at the end of the bed. It kind of looks like a little green cushion and I think that's cute. What's your PC specs? Big fan, by the way. I don't even know my PC specs. I'm not gonna lie. I know that I got a 3080. Thank you, NVIDIA. God bless. Yeah, so that's all I know, though. Yeah, we live in the best life not knowing our PC specs. Okay, let me build over here, more mossy areas. Yo, thank you so much, Sage Live. A year?
For a fantastic year of streams and for inspiring me to stream.
You're gonna make me cry. You're gonna make me cry. You're so sweet. Ice King types are truly better. Look, I tried the Ice King type once. It just too much sad. Okay, I need to spice up this room with some very lovely— wait, I gotta put my glass down. Put that— Sif, you're so cool, Slay. Thank you. Look guys, the reason why I struggle so hard in MCC and stuff like that is because I'm always too busy using my other hand to hit the slay button, so I'm sorry. What's your favorite kind of ice cream or sweets? Oh gosh, so I am from Vermont. I don't know why people don't know this because I literally talk about it all the time. But so I'm a big Ben & Jerry's person. Yeah. I just really like— I like very flavorful ice cream, and Ben & Jerry's is super flavorful. I'm pretty sure they use like a custard based or something like that. Like there's some specific reason why they tend to be more flavorful. But I really like Ben & Jerry's. I've never really had like Baskin Robbins or Cold Stone or anything like that because it's just not common here. I'm serious. I don't think I've ever seen a Baskin Robbins except for when I go out of state. Because when you're in the state where they literally founded Ben & Jerry's, like they're not going to like— people don't do that. We have scoop shops here. They're really nice. I've been to the original scoop shop where they like first opened up Ben & Jerry's. That was really cool. And they also sell the cookie dough there, that you like, the just raw cookie dough. It's so funny. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much it. My favorite thing that I have like from Ben & Jerry's is called fish food. And I know it sounds gross because it's got the word fish in it, but it's really good. It's like chocolate ice cream with marshmallow and caramel and little chocolate fishies. So what's your opinion on maple vanilla creamies? I love creamies and I really like maple creamies. For those who don't know, creamies are soft serve ice cream. We call them creamies here. Yes, you can make fun of me. It's okay. I'm used to it at this point. Wait, I want the thing to be like in front of the window, like, because this plant needs light, you know? Okay, and then we'll put like another plant right here. And then, I don't know, I'm just putting plants everywhere because that's what my room would be. Okay, I also want to get a little bush. Where is the— wait, mangrove leaves? No. Where is the— okay, I need a compost bin. And I want a cacti, a cactus. Here we go. Okay, and then I will fill this. Slowly, apparently. Okay, and then— oh wait, I can't do that. Oopsies! I forgot that that's not how this works. You know what? I'm literally just gonna put some dirt in the floor. It's fine. It works. It works. It just works. This room is super cute. I really like it. I'm gonna add some glowberries to it as well. Glowberries. Glowberries. There we go. My cousin has a maple farm up in Vermont, and every time we go, we make a giant batch of creamies, and it's the best. Dude, yeah. Dude, I feel that in my soul. I took Charles to their first sugar house. A sugar house is like where you make maple syrup and maple syrup related products for the first time. And we had a maple pulled pork sandwich. And it was very interesting, I have to admit. Hi, Mez! Hello, hello, hello. Wait, 1 second. I've had a crush on my best friend since my freshman year of high school. What should I do? You know, chat, this is gonna sound a little rough, but other than confess, there really is nothing else you can do. Like, and then if they don't like you, there's like, you just let it be. That's sometimes really hard for like, especially really young people to hear, but it's just kind of how it, yeah. Is the wild out? Do you mean the wild updates? Yes, if that's what you're asking. I think that's what you're asking. That's the best advice. It's just true. It's just how it is. Like, if someone says no, then you say, yeah, okay, cool. And then you leave them alone, unless you're friends. Is it good? The wilds update? Yes. 100%. Wild update, more like mild update. Stop. The warden was pretty huge. They were working on that for a really long time. Gotta respect boundaries for sure. Yeah. That's something that unfortunately I think even I struggled with as a kid. And when I say kid, I mean even when I was like 16. But you know, it's a very important like skill to learn. Yeah. No, the frogs in Minecraft. No, the frogs in Minecraft now are cute. See, this is true. There is frogs in Minecraft. But like I said, they worked very hard on the update. I'm sure of it. I mean, you have to keep in mind that I think the wilds update was like supposed to be, like a lot of it was supposed to go into the, which update did we have before? You know which one I mean. The blah, blah, blah. I don't know what that was. The caves and cliffs. There we go. Yeah, the mangrove swamps are pretty. I do like the mangrove a lot. I like new wood. It makes me very happy. Caves and cliffs, yeah. Thank you, chat. Obviously, I need to have a sip of my coffee. Now, chat, I would like to introduce you to this lovely mug that my friend bought me. It says, "I love you so much, mommy." Yay! Just had to share that. Where's the sorry? Actually, so it was at the time, like it was around the time when the sorry, mommy sorry was like trending on TikTok, and my friends would say that specifically to me. Because I've always been kind of like the mom friend in the group, because I'm tall and I wear mom jeans and I make sure that people are there on time or whatever. I don't know. So they bought that for me. Definitely one of the things that I own. I mean, I feel like it's pretty stylish. I love the like, whoever made this, they really said graphic design is my passion. Because I don't know, I think the fonts are like 3 different sizes and it's like off center and like it's a little silly. It's a little silly, but I love them so much for it. Okay, I gotta go upstairs and finish building. Okay, so I think this bedroom is good. Yeah. We got our secret little door. My friends got me Mother's Day cards. Oh my god. See, meanwhile, on Father's Day, I was walking around, like, yelling at my cats. I was like, hey, how come you guys haven't said Happy Father's Day to me yet? What the fuck, Suki? My cat was looking at me like, huh? Huh? What are you talking about, Sif? Look, Suki's just a little silly. Okay, wait. Dark oak door, here we go. Place that there. And then I'm gonna build a little shower. It's gonna be a skinny shower like I built in the other house because I don't have a lot of space in here. Where's the quartz? Okay. Here Here we go. I did something for my mom's friends for Mother's Day and completely forgot about my biological one. Yo, shout out to all the mom friends out there. Y'all really need to get paid to do what you do. Oh, hey Steph, I hope you're having a great day. You look great today. Oh, thank you. I feel very cute today, so I appreciate that a lot. Okay, I fully expect my cats to get me a Mother's Day gift. When I was younger, even like when I was like really young, so there's like a piece of hair stuck on my eyelash and it's tickling my face. When I was really young, my mom used to make like Christmas gifts. Like we wouldn't have Christmas gifts from Santa. It would be like Christmas gifts from the pets. And I'll never forget this one time where she got a Christmas gift for me and she said it was from Winston, and on the thing it said to mommy, and I thought it was for her, so I handed it to her and then she goes, no, that's from Winston, you're Winston's mom, that's for you. And I was like, so if you missed a tile block, did I? Oh, oopsies. Thank you for helping with that. It was, I don't know. I think about that sometimes because my mom is very silly. I love her, but she is very silly. Okay. I think our little bathroom is complete. Let me also put this here. Our silly little bathroom. Very tiny, but it works. My frog peed on me for Mother's Day and Father's Day. He's so sweet. Oh my gosh. Hi, I am new here. I don't want to be rude, but what are your pronouns if it's okay? My pronouns are they, them, or she, her. Thank you for asking. I really appreciate it. You're so sweet. I really appreciate it. Okay, I want to make like a little art studio in Minecraft, but I don't know how to do that. Maybe I'll make like a little streaming room. A little itty bitty streaming room for Snifferish. How do I do that? I guess I need like, where are the cartography tables? Excuse me. Sorry, this chat is causing my acid reflex to trigger. It is Snifferish. It is true. I am Snifferish. Okay, and then I'll make a little seat for myself. This is my sad little desk looking out into this aluminum. Aluminum. I don't know what it's called, okay? I'm not very good at stuff like that. And then let me go get a bookshelf real quick. We'll put some bookshelves in the background, just like rooftop garden stuff. I will be adding a rooftop garden. Do not fret. Do not fret, friends. I just gotta figure out, do I just make this go to the top, I guess? Wait. Maybe, here, wait. Maybe what I can do, does this block you from walking? No, it doesn't. Okay. So maybe what I can do is I can add a ladder. Right? So, and then I want to add a door, at least like a trap door or something. There we go. So now we're at the rooftop. Oh, I can't break that. Update. There we go. I also can't break that. Okay. Whew. Roof garden. Actually, somebody suggested specifically a roof greenhouse, and I really like that idea, so I am in fact going to be making like a little roof greenhouse. Let's see. I'll do... Let me get my spruce. Your bed and I'm in your Twitch chat. I've got the key and he's got the door. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna build, it's gonna be like a little small, just because realistically most roof gardens aren't that big. Okay, and then I think this is good. Like kind of just this little style. Actually, why don't I... No. I think I'm gonna keep the other one. Okay, and then this will come out over to about here. Actually, you know what? Right there is better. Okay. I'll make this part real quick. Okay. What would the house's Gothic roof equivalent be? I don't know. I'm thinking like maybe like a little like stargazing area. I'm not really quite so sure. Or maybe it would just be like empty and kind of like walled off. That could also be kind of properly spooky. Okay, and then for right here. Okay, let me get my glass. I'm just gonna use, I think, light gray glass. Here we go. I don't want to use actual green glass because I just feel like that's silly. Oh, this is so cute. It's just a tiny little greenhouse. Okay, and then last but not least, I will add a nice little door. I think I'm gonna use a birch door. It just makes sense here. Sif, you have had Disney World's dual whip? I don't know what that is. Sif, can you put a Piaz in it and name it Sniffles? I don't know if I can. I don't think entities will cross over, but I could definitely try. All right, and then let me actually turn this into like stone. I would totally, if I lived in a house like this, I would totally have a rooftop garden. I think this is just so cute. Okay, and then I want to add a nice little other garden area like right here. And then let me just we can make some little garden plots together. I'll make some more over here. Like this little garden beds. Oopsies. Okay, and then we'll get some like lovely flowers. I definitely want to have orchids in here because orchids are my favorite flower and I am a nerd. Okay, so I'll just do like, I can't put, oh, this is seagrass. I'm like, why isn't this placing? I'll do the same thing over here, but with the mushroom. And then I'm gonna add like some dirt to the floor because like even if you are on a rooftop, like dirt is going to get on the floor. That just will happen. I also want to add like a little bench. Okay, let me see. Oh wait, take this. Get shovel. No, other way. Put this out. And then yeah, I think that works. And then we just make like some little standing lights and stuff like that. I'm just gonna make, I think, lanterns on like little stakes because that's what I see most of the time outside. That's too small. I will be using dark oak fence instead. Like so. Okay, now I need to put some in here. I think I'm gonna make like some garden beds in here, but I'm also going to make some, like if I take, where's the scaffolding? Scaffolding, here we go. I'm also gonna place some scaffolding and then some little pots. Pot. There we go. I'll grab some tree plants. Oh, this is so cute, chat. Okay, and then I'm just gonna put grass in here. Oh wait, yeah, there we go. Does anyone have any ideas for what I can build? So if you could make an overgrown porch ring on the goth one, I could. I totally could. I think that this is adorable for a little roof though. Can we just appreciate this? It's so cute. Okay, so for the other one, let me get over into the house and make the way up first. Just pop up here. Stargazing spot. I think I'm just gonna make like a little picnic blanket. I don't want it to be super used because like unironically Charles is a bit of a hermit. And I just think it would make sense to not have the roof be super used. Okay, let me get some dead bushes. Go off to a great start, chat. And then I will get... Where are my ladders? Ladder. Okay, so first, build up. I'm gonna move this over one. Just because I don't want it to be in the way. Okay, so I'll place this here. We'll get our trapdoor. Let me just break this down. There we go. So we have our nice little roof here. I'm just gonna kind of make it a little sad. So I don't really talk too much in chat, but I just want to say your stream is making me really happy. Oh, I'm so glad that I could. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Does the dirt roof show on the inside of the house? Oh, no, it doesn't. I kind of did like this silly little window or ceiling treatment, so you don't see any of that. Yeah, just like, I'm gonna make like a little picnic spot, I guess. And I'm gonna add some like storage barrels. Barrel. And then I'll make like a little tiny picnic spot. I'm gonna make it like red and black, kind of like checkers. Where is... Here we go. Oh, like a little blanket laid out. Oh. And then I'm going to also... Can I put mushrooms in here? I think I could put down the weird red stuff. Wait, one second. Let me look for the, where is it? Here we go. Crimson. This kind of adds like a nice little spooky effect too up here. Like, who knows what this is? Not me. It's just kind of, yeah. Let's see what else I can add. You know, I'm gonna add like a little weather vane thing. Like right here. Actually right here. No, stiff. Put this down. Little spooky moment. Little fire pit. Can you have a fire pit on your roof? Is that allowed? I don't know if that's allowed, but I'll make it. And then I will make some little seating around it, I guess. Where is... Here we go. Dark oak stairs. And I'm just gonna do the classic like little sign thing that people do. Except I'm gonna use the mangrove because I kind of want it to be a little contrasting. This looks so sad. I kind of like it. It just looks really sad. I mean, I guess that's kind of the point though, chat. Okay, so we've got our two roofs now, and I think the big thing is gonna be decorating the back. But, yeah. Okay, let me go to the back here. I do want to make little balconies for the bedrooms, just because I think it would be really cute. Once again, I'm gonna sit up a little bit more. A Snifferish stream? Yes, indeed, a Snifferish stream. Chat, say Stiff, I've only recently gained the confidence to start chatting more. And I just want to say your streams are generally some of the best parts of my weeks. Oh. I'm so happy about that. And help me stay positive. That's the goal. You guys, I know this sounds like really cheesy, but as much as like, as much as you guys help me, or I help you guys stay positive, you guys kind of do the same for me. Sometimes, I'm gonna be honest, streaming gets really difficult. Like I don't have much motivation to do it and all that jazz. And then I do it and then I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I feel really good about myself. I feel really good about, you know, Wait, I'm not supposed to use this on this side, don't mind me. I'm like, I feel really good about myself, I feel really good about how I make others feel and all that cheesy crap. And then I feel a lot better. So I definitely get that. Okay, actually I want to use the deep slate tile stairs. Oh, add candles to the roofs? I really should. What happened to your poor camera yesterday? I literally still do not know because I turned it on today and it was working fine. So I literally don't know what happened yesterday. I guess it just had a moment. I guess. Like I said, I'm still really confused and I don't know what happened. Okay, let me grab this and this. Either way, it was kind of a silly, goofy moment. Yeah. My mouse was glitchy yesterday for no reason, but now it's fine. Dude, sometimes technology just be like that. I mean, literally what happened is, so yesterday or whatever, I don't know when exactly it was. I think it was 2 days ago. I was streaming and Charles sent me like a TikTok or something like that. And then the next thing I know, my entire like stream is crashing and like my entire, it was so weird. And I had no idea what was going on. And then it just sort of stopped. Like it was just like, okay, I'm done now. By then my stream was already gone. It was so sad. But I still don't know exactly what happened. Because literally all that happened was that I played the TikTok. And then I think it was like pure coincidence that it broke at the same time, but I just think it's really funny to blame it on Charles. Because, yeah. So. Hi, Sniff, I'm new. Hi, new. I'm Sniff. I don't know why I said it so weirdly like that, but I did. Oh well. I'm trying to make this, like, I guess, balcony thing. It's a little odd. It's turning out just a little weird. Okay, and then stream was having a fit. That was your worst joke to date. Thank you. Don't worry. I'll beat it soon. I have to. That's just part of the Snifferish agenda. Remember, guys, I said to one time that I turned to myself and I said, if I can't be a funny woman, I'm going to be an unfunny man, and it works so well. I just say shit, and it works. So just trust me on that one. Okay, now I have to figure out what I want to do for. I guess this works. I guess. I really don't know what's going on. Ooh, make a little heart garden that's separated. You try to farm Oz from me? So I'm gonna make this a little smaller. We do not have a lot of space in this backyard. I don't know why my ambition is getting the better of me here with this. Here, I'm gonna try. Then right here there can be a little grill. I don't know why I said it like that. Yeah. I'm 95% sure I'm following you on TikTok, but for some reason this is my first stream. That's because when you're in TikTok, you're stuck in scrolling hell, and you never want to leave. And so you see this cool streamer and you're like, wow, that's such a cool streamer. Maybe I should, like, I don't know, check them out or something like that. But you don't, because you're on scrolling TikTok hell. And then you don't check out the streamer, and then you realize later that there was a streamer that you were supposed to look at, and then you cry because you didn't realize. Yeah. And just speaking from personal experience, honestly. Shout out to that's how I found Amesy. Okay, wait, so I'm just trying to make them again mirrored. And then this goes right here. I get this is rude, but I just want to know what your sexuality is. My mind is screaming at me to ask. It's okay. I am a lesbian. I like women and non-binary people. Yep. TikTok is so addictive. Yeah. It really, really gets you there. I actually, like, one of the main reasons why I don't post on TikTok anymore is because I found that I was, like, also like I want to post more on TikTok, but I also find that like I would get like sucked into like watching it then, and then I would like lose productivity because I was watching TikTok, and I don't know. It never felt good. Like I would like stop my TikTok binge session and then be like, wow, I feel like shit now. Like, okay, wait, and then I'll do this is, oh wait, I was supposed to do that. Shh, you didn't see that. This is so cute, these little balconies. The unfortunate part is I need to separate them now. TikTok Live, quite cringe though. I forget that TikTok Live exists sometimes, but yeah. How was your day today, Sniff? Well, I woke up, played a game of League. Don't ask me about that one. And then I made myself food, and then I did some prep so that I can do some painting later. So feeling pretty cool about that part, which means that after stream I'm gonna go paint, which I'm quite proud of. I need to paint more. It's like this very weirdly divided. It's a very thick wall, but it's okay. Romeo and Juliet garden, so true. So true, my friend. It's like kind of the vibe I'm going for, so I'm glad that that's what you think when you see it. Okay, I'm gonna use stone brick, I guess, here. Except a very much smaller scale, because oof. Okay, there we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, where is it? You guys heard her, sub with Prime. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna use this stone brick and just kind of I don't know, it's a really thick wall, and it's kind of unfortunate from like above, but the whole point is that you normally would look at it from like this side. So I think it works. And then I will build the rest. Let me just... Very small little backyard garden, but it's okay. Also, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I don't have my Spotify widget up right now. She died long ago. Rest in peace, Spotify widget. You will always be loved. Okay, and then fill this in. Actually, I feel like I should be using... I think I'm going to use iron bars instead so that you can see through them. I think it just makes more sense, and then it won't connect over here, which would be nice. Or it will. Okay. Whatever. It's fine. Wait, why do I kind of like this? This, like, weird... Wait a second, chat. I feel like I'm onto something here. Just adds a nice dimension. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do this instead. And I think I'll honestly just leave it. Like, none of this at the top. What do you guys think? I was thinking the same thing with the walls and the bars. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it looks a little weird in this one area where there's like 2 sections, but I can't really do much about that. It's just part of the symmetry. When did you decide to become a builder? I want to build, but I'm so bad. I just kind of, I don't know. I used to play Minecraft with my friends a lot, and then every single time we played Minecraft, they would be like, okay, I'm gonna go mining and then you build the house. And I wasn't very good builder then, but it just kind of like fell on me to do it anyways. So then I did a lot of the building, and I think, like, you know, practice makes perfect. So because of that, I had to, you know, start building a lot, and then I got really good at it. So again, not to be cheesy, practice does sort of make perfect. I like where you're going with this, Sniff. Weird question, what time do you sleep at? Too late. Too late in the day. Too late. Oh my gosh, I was up last night. What was I watching? I'm trying to think. There was something, I don't know, I get really sucked into YouTube. I really like, you might not expect this, but you also might. I really like channels like North of the Border and like Studson's Studio and channels like that that are like focused around like making miniature models. So like weird and specific, but I just like it a lot. I like, they're very satisfying. I think Studson Studio is really funny, so I really like his stuff. Also, I'm gonna make the other side look dead as hell. Make a swing back here, I think. I keep grabbing seagrass thinking it's normal grass. Make a cute little swing. That's what I'll do. I'll take this. And we need... Oh, wait. Shit. I need... cobblestone wall. This, and then I need a slab of some kind. Here we go. To make my little swing. This should be good. Okay, and then there you go. There's your little swing. I think it's very cute. Ginny raid! Yo, thank you so much, Ginny, for the raid. Of course, you could do dirt on Podzol. Yeah, that's what I'm planning to do. I'm planning to do coarse dirt and Podzol, and this is a dead lawn. Sorry. Just adds to the spooky vibes, I guess. Charles wouldn't actually kill their lawn, just so you guys know. Hi, long time no see. I love the vibes. Thank you. Okay, so then back here, I'm going to add some dead bushes. Somebody suggested to me that I use mangrove roots for dead bushes, and honestly, new favorite thing. It looks great. And then I'm gonna add a grave because it's spooky time. And then I will add some skeleton decor. Little skeleton. Okay, here we go. Nope, down there. Use soul lanterns on one side and okay, lanterns. So we'll take soul lanterns on this side. And then normal lanterns on this side. And then I need to spruce up the back of the buildings a little bit. I know that they're not really gonna be seen from like, I don't know, maybe it's just a me thing. It's just a me thing. What's the themes of the houses? One's like more like light and airy and like very like ooh hoo hoo hoo, I'm alive, and the other one's supposed to be kind of dark and a lot of the stuff is dying. But that's okay. It's a little spooky house. Little spooky. Don't forget the candles on the roof. I will not forget them. I promise. I was just thinking about them. Okay. I think this is actually really good. I'm pretty impressed with this so far. I do need to add, now that I think about it, just make sure that they don't fall off the balcony. There we go. That's much better. And then one thing I am gonna do real quick is just add like a landing base for these guys so that they don't just go straight down like that. I think this looks pretty good so far. Let me get my candles real quick for the spooky balcony. I'm not gonna light them yet, just because I don't know what I'm supposed to do entirely. Just lots of candles. It's very empty up here, but I kind of like that. Can I just be both of their aesthetics? Yes. Steph, have you listened to Will Wood's new album yet? No, I haven't, but I need to.
You are cool. Thanks for being such a nice person. Also, you should watch The Owl House.
I really should. I really should. I've been thinking about watching it for so long now. It's so frustrating. Ugh, thank you for reminding me. All right, now I need to make the little garage area. I don't think I'm actually gonna have like the garage be an area you can enter. So I think I'm just going to, yeah. Let me get quartz. It's kind of like a fake garage, to be honest, but that's okay. And then, wait, where are the stairs? Quartz. There we go. Smooth quartz. And then let me put like something back there so you can't just like look in. There we go. Little garage. Actually, I think I'm gonna make it one deeper. I just want a little bit more depth. Whew. Went too fast there. There we go. I think that looks actually really nice. And then let me go add it on this side as well. And then there we have our little garages, which I think make the builds look that much better. I like it, Picasso. Thank you. Steph, can we see your Minecraft avatar by chance? Yes, you can, but again, I am wearing my MCC skin. Don't ask. I don't know. I just haven't taken it off yet. Yeah. I'm also gonna very quickly add these just for... There we go. Just a little detail that I like. Man, this looks so good. I'm so proud of myself. I want to just add like a little bit more foliage to the side of this one, so let me just do that real quick. Yes. I think this is very nice, chat. I'll just see if I can wrap it around here a little bit more. And then I can't put it there because it's gonna end, but I think this looks amazing. What do you guys think? Let me just get rid of my palettes and stuff so that we can see it in its full glory. Wait, come on. So, actually, oh shit, okay. Let me add some stuff to the back real quick, just because it is slightly bothering me. There's like not a lot of detail back here. I'm gonna make it really simple detail though, so don't worry, it's not gonna take me a gazillion years. There we go. That just like adds like a little bit more detail and I like it. Try using vines for the right side. I thought about that. I don't want vines on this side, just this side. I think that this looks great. And then you come up here, you got your little, here, we'll do a little house tour. We'll do a little house tour, I guess. You know, just a little one. Okay, so here, let me close these doors. You come into here, first you got the spooky one, your little doorbell. You come into here. We've got the nice spooky kitchen. A little spooky living area. You can come out here to the backyard. It's dead. Don't worry about the backyard. You pop upstairs. Oh wait, you got a little closet too. Pop upstairs. You got this unused little guest room. So sad. A bathroom, because people gotta pee. You got, oh wait, I forgot a door here. This is why we do a walkthrough, chat. This is why we do a walkthrough. You get a little spooky bedroom with a nice little spooky balcony. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? This is just a silly little idea of mine. Okay, wait. I need my fence. Okay, fence gate. Okay, chat, this is super secret information. Okay. Nobody will know. Nobody's gonna know. Wait, where are the fireplaces? Okay. So first, I'm gonna place, actually, yeah, I'll just do this. I don't need the other part. Just a little connecting. Just, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, got the bedroom. I come in here. And that's this one. Yeah, you can come to the ceiling if you want. It's just a little sad up here. It's kind of not really used that much. Now we go down to the other half of the house. And, boop. And this one's a little bit more lively, a little bit more green. You know, we got lots of plants, lots of books, lots of color. You can go upstairs. And you can see we've got a little study, a bathroom, and then here's the bedroom. One thing I did add is there is a little secret bridge in between the two rooms, just because I think I'm a little silly like that. And then last but not least, you go upstairs in this one, and there is a little greenhouse and a little garden roof. And this one has a nice swing in the garden too. So I think that this is a very good build. I'm very happy with this. And they were roommates. Yes, and they were roommates. And he's here apparently for some reason. So I will definitely be taking photos of this when I have the opportunity to have shaders on. So yeah. Thank you chat, for coming and hanging out with me today. I know this stream was a little bit shorter than normal. I promise I'll try to do longer streams. I mean, technically this is like supposed to be a part 2 to what last week was, so, or what last stream was, so oopsies. But if you guys want me to do more like build streams and stuff like that, I would totally be down. Gaki recently invited me to their area unknown like 1.19 servers, so I might be joining that and having a good time there. I also might be doing some modded Minecraft, so all good things, all good things. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me today. Thank you. I'm sorry again that the stream was a little short, but I appreciate you guys. And I will see you guys at least on Sunday. I might try and stream before then, but if not, then I will definitely be on Sunday. So bye guys. Bye-bye.